Imagine you're sitting at someone else's holiday table. The family around you is loud, messy, arguing over something small, and you're watching it all, quietly thinking, I no longer have this. Not because you didn't get invited somewhere, because you made a choice. And then someone looks at you and asks, so where's your family? And you smile. You say something vague, because the real answer is too long, too heavy, and most people aren't actually ready to hear it. Here's what most people get wrong about family estrangement. Society has told us blood is thicker than water. Family love is unconditional, sacred almost. So when someone walks away from that, the assumption is they must be selfish. They gave up too easily. But research tells a completely different story. Dr. Carl Pillemer at Cornell University spent years studying family estrangement across hundreds of cases. What he found again and again, the people who cut off family are almost never the ones who gave up easily. They are consistently the ones who tried the longest. It wasn't one big moment. It was years of hoping, years of conversations that went nowhere, apologies that never came, the same patterns repeating, until one day the cost of staying finally became higher than the cost of leaving. Think about someone, maybe it's even you, who spent years going back to a table where they felt completely invisible, not unloved, unseen, where every conversation circled back to what you hadn't done yet, who you hadn't become, why you still weren't quite enough. But you kept going back, because that's what you do, because leaving felt like betrayal, and hope is a hard thing to let go of, especially when it's pointed at the people who raised you. Psychologists call the pattern that creates this emotional invalidation, when the people who are supposed to make you feel safe consistently dismissed what you felt. It doesn't just hurt in the moment. It changes how you see yourself. It changes how safe you believe it is to need anything from anyone. It's slow, like a ceiling leak, drip by drip, until one day the whole floor gives out. People don't walk away from families because something exploded. They walk away because something eroded. And here's the part that almost nobody talks about. Even when you know the relationship was hurting you, it can still feel like you're the bad guy. That voice asking, should I have tried harder, forgiven faster, needed less? But that guilt is not proof you made the wrong choice. That guilt is proof that you cared. You had love in you. It just didn't have a safe place to land. People who don't care don't feel that guilt. They just leave without looking back. The guilt, that's a deeply human response. And the grief that follows estrangement, it doesn't disappear just because the relationship did. They mourned the parent they needed but didn't get, the sibling bond that could have existed, the version of family that looked normal everywhere else, just not in their own home. What I want you to take from this: cutting off family is not the easy way out. There is no easy way out. It is choosing one kind of pain over another. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, it is the most honest, most self-aware thing a person can do for themselves. Because a relationship built on resentment, obligation, and performance isn't love. It's a deal. And some deals need to end before both people can actually move forward. There are people right now who have spent years making themselves smaller to fit inside a family that was too small for who they actually are. And they were told that's loyalty, that's love. But surviving is not the same as living. You are allowed to want more than that. The people who cut off their families aren't cold or dramatic. They're people who loved, sometimes deeply, sometimes desperately, and eventually had to choose between that love and themselves. And they chose themselves. And that is one of the hardest, most quietly devastating things a person can do for themselves. If any part of this resonated not just in your mind, but somewhere quieter, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're still somewhere in the middle of this story, still figuring it out, you are not alone, not even close. Subscribe to Psychology Patterns for more deep dives into the psychology behind the choices we make and why we make them. I'll see you in the next one.